A very exciting moment has descended upon us here at the Livid Festival in Brisbane. My old bestest pals ever, Gene.
Yo, what's up?
And Dean Ween.
Yo, what's up, baby?
Oh, man.
Ween is a band with a lot of music. Despite only having 10 official studio albums, Ween has dozens of hours of outtakes in the vault, many of which have made their way into the hands of fans through one way or another. No matter how deep you are in the Ween fandom, it seems like there's always a Ween song you've never heard before. And a great way to familiarize yourself with the best of the best is through the band's sometimes semi-official outtake albums. Today, I want to talk about 7 of the most notable Ween outtake albums spanning 17 years of the band's history, to figure out which tracks should have never been left off their respective albums, and which outtake tapes are good enough to be studio albums in themselves. Starting with what most fans know as just Bilboa is actually 2 tapes, Bilboa Parts 1 and 2, which are often strung together. The album cover, made by Ween Archived, is adapted from Bondage Records' Oi Hookah compilation, which is a very pod move, if you ask me. And ironically, despite not originally being a Ween cover, or really ever being an official Ween anything, that sculpture from the Bilboa cover has become one of the most iconic images in the Ween fandom. Apparently recorded in late 1990, Bilboa contains many early mixes of tracks from the pod, as well as notable outtakes like Good Bad, Happy Sad, Trying to Be Brown, F***em Suck'em, and Fantasy Jam. There's not a lot of info about these tracks, other than the fact that they were recorded at the pod, and honestly, a couple of these songs are good enough to be album tracks. I mean, the pod is already too long to fit on a single LP at 23 songs, so what's 25?
That's what will be.
Caprice Classic is one of my favorite Ween outtake tapes, compiled in 1991 during the recording of Pure Guava. It also features early versions of many Pure Guava songs, plus some of their best outtakes of the Brown era, including Killer Speed, featuring Guy Heller from Moist Boys, Waxy Dribble Jam, featuring Ed Wilson on guitar, who would later help Dina write the chords for Freedom of 76. Baby, aka Love Will Conquer All, which I included in my Shinola Volume 2 video, and Burnt Sienna, a fantastic instrumental, really one of Ween's saddest sounding songs of all time. Chocolate and Cheese Taster Demos is a compilation of demos from the summer of '92, prior to the band renting out the office space to record Chocolate and Cheese. And just to be clear, this isn't the B-side to the deluxe Chocolate and Cheese. These are the ones that were left off even that release. Some tracks include I Still Love You, which local legend has it was originally written by a car insurance salesman, Al Savio. Ode to Renee and Mango Woman, which would be included as B-sides on the '93 single of Push the Little Daisies. Sweet Texas Fire, which would eventually be the B-side of Piss Up a Rope, and even super early versions of Buckingham Green and Gabrielle.
Sometimes I feel like my own man. You know that's hard for me to say.
The Choc and Cheese Tasters are interesting because they showcase the band in transition, featuring songs from the Brown era, Chocolate and Cheese era, and Country phase, making it perhaps Ween's most diverse outtake album. There were only 3 fully realized outtakes from the country era: I've Got No Dark Side, So Long Jerry, and Boston Chicken, all of which are worth giving a listen to. But the next full set of outtakes I want to talk about are the Mollusk Sessions. This is all of the material the band recorded before the beach house flooded, leaving them determined to finish the 14 tracks they were most confident in. Some notable outtakes include Coco, which was apparently cut very late in the game, Vinny the Eel, and of course, Kim Smoltz, which is maybe Ween's most famous outtake that was never released as a B-side. Also found on the Mollusk Sessions are early versions of Flutes of Chi from White Pepper, and Did You See Me from Shinola Volume 1. I think without question, this was the most interesting period for the band for that reason alone. Among all the drama with Andrew Weiss and the studio flooding, they still managed to turn out one of the best concept albums of all time, and a bunch of outtakes that were just as mind-blowingly good. The Long Beach Island tape is a compilation of White Pepper era tracks that were stolen from Gene Ween's house. In a statement in 2001, Gene wrote, "That CDR you have was stolen from my house and bootlegged without my knowledge. It's too late to stop it from being circulated, but I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't copy it or trade it on." Those songs were from a tape of outtakes that weren't on the record for a reason. So enjoy what you have, but remember, the Boognish is breathing poopy air down the back of your neck every time you hit play. Peace, Meng. Also, if you could spread the word about this really not being cool, you make me very happy. Thanks, dude. Gene Ween. Dean, when asked about the incident by Kathleen Richards of Gavin.com, stated, "We had a tape of stolen demos from our last record and it ended up being online 3 weeks later. It's kind of disturbing, actually. That's on the bad side of it. If we want people to hear it, we'll make it available." Despite the unfortunate nature of how the songs were put out, they are bangers. Some heavy hitters include Put Your Boobs On, the titular Long Beach Island, Wash Me Down, For So Long, and Wife. I'm so glad I've got you back into my... But the White Pepper era was one of the band's most prolific, period, with there being several notable outtakes collected from other sources, like Little Miss Mandy, Does It Turn You On, and She'll Just Get You. Just an unreal well of creativity. I really hope we get a White Pepper Deluxe at some point, because I absolutely think it would do numbers. But then again, when fans take it into their own hands to leak them, they de-incentivize the band from releasing them officially in high def. The Caesar demos are a set of 29 tracks from the Quebec era, some early versions of album tracks, and some fully realized outtakes. It was posted by Dean on Facebook in 2011. I don't want to get into the circumstances surrounding the release of Caesar just yet, as the final episode of History of Ween will cover this in detail, but suffice it to say, this was a complicated point in Ween's history. Regardless, some of my favorite tracks from Caesar include Linda, the Sexy Dancer, Little Country Cottage, Ambrosia Parsley, which was named after a real person, by the way, the lead singer of Chivalry, and wife of former Ween manager David Ayers, Hello Johnny, and Eulogy for David Anderson, a heartbreaking tribute to a friend of the band who went missing and was then found dead in New Hope in the summer of 2000. It's been a while since you've been gone. Still don't understand why you left us and a son. Next is the La Cucaracha Sessions. One of the most interesting eras of Ween, for me, is the Friends in La Cucaracha era. And regardless of how you feel about the finished products, this was undoubtedly a very productive era for Ween, with some legendary notable outtakes being Hawakuwani Say, Something That the Man Needs, Leave Diener Alone, and Britney. As is the case with Bag of Fat, honestly, any of these songs could have, and maybe should have, been on the album, or at least Friends. It's a shame that this era of Ween gets such a bad rap when there are so many amazing compositions that were just sitting on a hard drive collecting dust. Ween has several more outtake collections, like Craters of the Sack, though I covered many of those songs on my Shinola Volume 1 episode, and the Eindhoven EP, which I'd conceptually lump in with the pre-Godwin Satan tapes like Wad and Crucial Squeegee Lip. And I think that era deserves some greater focus in an Extras episode at some point, since I basically just paid them lip service in episode 1 of History of Ween. But that's a story for another day. Let me know what your favorite Ween outtake album is, and why, down below. And remember, stay brown.